Hello everyone. Enjoy these relaxing moments while you watch.
Ethan, drawn by the shouting, entered the room with a steady gait. His presence, both commanding and calm, stood in stark contrast to the tension filling the air. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice low and controlled, as if trying to soothe two wild beasts on the verge of a deadly fight. Nora turned to him, her eyes blazing with anger. She's trying on my bridal veil. Can't you see? She's trying to take my place, steal my wedding." Her words came out in a rush, dripping with venom and irrational jealousy. Ethan looked at Anna, who remained still, the veil still tangled in her hair and draped over her shoulders as if it had trapped her in a web of trouble. For a moment, their eyes met, and Anna thought she saw something in his gaze that went beyond the concern of an employer for his servant. "Nora, calm down," Ethan said, his voice gentle but firm. "I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for this." He moved closer to Anna, who lowered her head, unable to bear the weight of his gaze as he looked at her with curiosity, and something else she dared not name. With gentle fingers, Ethan began to untangle the veil from Anna's uniform. His hands brushed the fabric, near her skin, and she shivered. "See," he said, addressing Nora but not taking his eyes off Anna. "It was just an accident. This veil is beautiful, isn't it, Anna? I understand why you'd want to try it on." Anna nodded, grateful for Ethan's intervention but painfully aware that every second he stayed close to her only made the situation worse. "I'm very sorry, ma'am," she whispered to Nora. "The veil is so beautiful, I couldn't resist the temptation to see what it would feel like to wear it." Nora, however, did not soften at this explanation. "See, Ethan. She admits it. She wanted to feel what it's like to be in my place. Women like her will do anything to catch a rich man. I want her out of here immediately." Ethan frowned, clearly frustrated by his fiancée's overreaction. "Nora, you're being unreasonable. Anna is a loyal, hard-working employee. We can't throw her out on the street over a simple misunderstanding." But Nora wouldn't back down. With every word Ethan spoke in defense of Anna, Nora's fury only grew. "You're defending her instead of me, your future wife. Don't you see we're arguing because of her, this homewrecker?" Anna felt the situation spiraling out of her control, and she stepped back. "Please, don't worry. I'll go to my room right away. I don't want to cause any more trouble." She tried to move toward the door, but in her haste, she tripped on the edge of the veil that still trailed on the floor. Instinctively, Ethan caught her, and Anna found herself in his arms, her face just inches from his chest, able to feel the rapid beating of his heart. Time seemed to stop, and in that brief moment, they both felt a connection that transcended all boundaries of class and status. Nora watched the scene, her eyes wide with shock and rage, her face a mask of disbelief and fury. "Let her go," she shrieked, her voice breaking with emotion. "The only woman you should be holding is me, your future wife." Ethan helped Anna stand, his hand lingering a second too long at her waist. "Are you all right?" he asked, genuine concern in his voice. Anna nodded, unable to speak. His closeness, the warmth of his body, the scent of his expensive cologne, all of it swirled into a storm of sensations that threatened to unsteady her once more. "I'm not going to my room," Nora declared, her voice cold as steel. "I'm leaving this house. You're fired." Those words fell like a hammer on Anna. "Please, don't," she begged, panic seizing her. "I have nowhere else to go. This job, this house is all I have." Ethan tried to intervene again, but Nora cut him off with a sharp gesture. "It's her or me, Ethan. You have to decide right now." The silence that followed was heavy, blanketing the room. Anna looked at Ethan, her eyes pleading, not just for her job, but for something deeper she couldn't even admit to herself. Ethan, caught between duty and the new emotions stirring within him, seemed to be waging an internal battle. In the end, it was Anna who made the decision for everyone. "I'll go," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to cause any more trouble. With dignity, she removed the veil and placed it on the bed, as if, along with it, she was laying down her dreams and hopes. As Anna made her way to the door, she felt like she was leaving more than just a job. Deep inside, she knew she was walking away from the man who had unintentionally become the center of her world. With each step away from that room and from Ethan, she felt as if a part of her soul had been left behind, tangled in the bridal veil that would never belong to her. Night descended on Paula like a velvet blanket scattered with stars. Inside the mansion, shadows stretched long, creating hidden corners where secrets seemed to come to life. Anna, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, was packing her few belongings into an old, worn-out suitcase. Each folded shirt, each item she placed inside, was a reminder of the years she had spent in this house, silently loving a man who was out of her reach. The sound of footsteps approaching made her jump. The door to her small room creaked open, revealing the commanding figure of Nora, Ethan's fiancée. She entered like a queen entering her domain, the scent of expensive perfume preceding her presence like a herald. I hope you're ready to leave, she said coldly, her gaze sweeping over the room with contempt. Anna nodded silently, unable to meet the triumphant look in the other woman's eyes. But Nora had not come just to bask in her victory. With a malicious smile, she stepped closer to Anna. You should know, she whispered, her voice a venomous hiss. I've called immigration services. Soon enough, you'll be sent back to your country where you belong. Fear gripped Anna like an icy hand, her mind flooding with images of home, the poverty she had left behind, and the reasons she had risked everything for a better life. Please, don't do this, she pleaded, her voice barely audible. I have nothing there. But Nora had already turned away, satisfied with the terror she had sown. As she left the room, the distant wail of police sirens began to grow louder. In that moment of panic, the door opened again. This time, it was Ethan who entered, his face a mask of worry and determination. Anna, he said, striding toward her. I've heard what Nora has done. Don't worry, I'll take care of this. Anna looked at him, her eyes brimming with tears she had been holding back. You can't help me, she said softly. Your fiancée, she's going to report me, and she's right. I'm an illegal immigrant, I have no right to be here. Ethan took Anna's hands in his, the touch sending an electric current up her arms. Don't say that. You have as much right as anyone else to seek a better life. And I can't let you go. His confession hung in the air between them, laden with meaning. Anna looked at Ethan, allowing herself for the first time to see the emotions in his eyes, the longing that mirrored her own. Why, she whispered. Why are you helping me? Is it out of pity? Ethan shook his head, stepping closer to her. No, Anna, not out of pity. It's something I've felt for a long time, something I couldn't even admit to myself. Anna's heart pounded so hard she feared Ethan might hear it. I've felt something too, she admitted, the words spilling out of her. But you're about to get married, and you are not just anything, Ethan interrupted her firmly. You are the bravest, most beautiful woman I've ever met, and when I think of you leaving, it feels like a part of me is being torn apart. The sirens grew louder. Ethan glanced toward the window and then back at Anna. There's no time to explain. Trust me, okay? I won't let them take you. Anna nodded, emotions and fear swirling inside her. Ethan led her out of the room, through dark hallways and down servant stairs she knew all too well. As they moved in silence, avoiding detection, Anna couldn't stop thinking about how she had gotten to this point. She remembered her first day at this mansion, scared and desperate, looking for any job that would help her send money home to her family. She remembered the first time she saw Ethan, so elegant and distant, and how, over time, she discovered his kindness. Now, as they hid in a small storage room, waiting for the danger to pass, Anna allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, her dreams weren't impossible. Ethan looked at her with an intensity that made her heart race, and in that moment, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, Anna knew that no matter what happened, her life had been changed forever. Voices and footsteps drew nearer, and tension filled the air. Ethan moved closer to Anna as if to shield her with his body. "No matter what happens," he whispered, "I won't let you go. We'll find a way." His words, though whispered, echoed in the small space like an unbreakable promise. The voices grew even closer, and Anna held her breath, hearing Nora's shrill, demanding voice, directing the officers around the house. "She must be hiding somewhere here," Nora said. "She's a master manipulator and liar." Ethan squeezed Anna's hand, giving her courage. At that moment, he made a decision. "Stay here," he said. "I'll handle this." Before Anna could protest, Ethan stepped out of their hiding place and closed the door behind him. She remained in the dark, her heart pounding so loudly she feared it might give away her hiding spot. "What's going on here?" She heard Ethan's voice, steady and authoritative. "Sir," another voice, presumably an officer, responded. "We've received a report about an illegal immigrant working in this house." "That's absurd," Ethan replied with a calmness Anna deeply admired. "There are no illegal immigrants here. All of my staff have proper documentation." "You're lying!" Nora shouted. "The maid, Anna, she's an illegal immigrant. I saw her packing her things to flee." There was a tense silence, and Anna held her breath, certain that at any moment the door would open and she would be discovered. "Officers," Ethan spoke clearly. "I'm sorry you've been bothered unnecessarily. Anna is not an illegal employee. In fact, she's not my employee at all. She's my fiancée." Nora's shocked gasp was audible even through the closed door. Inside her hiding place, Anna felt like the world had stopped spinning. She had heard it clearly, he had said she was his fiancée. "Your fiancée?" the officer asked, clearly puzzled. "But we thought." "There's been a misunderstanding," Ethan continued calmly. "My ex-girlfriend, in a fit of jealousy, misinterpreted the situation. Anna and I were planning to announce our engagement soon, but it seems the circumstances have forced us to do so earlier." Anna could hear Nora's enraged outburst, the confused questions from the officers, and Ethan's steady responses leaving no room for doubt. Gradually, the sounds began to fade until, finally, everything fell silent. The door to her hiding place opened, and Ethan stood there, extending his hand to her. "The danger is over," he said gently. "Come with me." Anna stepped out, her legs trembling. "What happened?" she asked, still unable to believe what she had just heard. Ethan looked at her with a mixture of tenderness and determination. "I did what I should have done a long time ago," he answered. Then, to Anna's utter surprise, he knelt before her. "Anna, I know this isn't how you imagined it, and I promise you'll have a proper proposal later, but, will you marry me?" The tears Anna had been holding back for so long finally spilled over. "Yes," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "I'll marry you." Ethan stood and pulled her into his arms, kissing her with a passion that conveyed years of unspoken feelings. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing softly, Ethan resting his forehead against hers. "I love you," he said simply. "And I won't let anything or anyone come between us." Anna smiled through her tears. "I love you too," she replied. "From the moment I first saw you." In that moment, as they embraced in the hallway of the mansion, a place that had witnessed their silent love, Anna knew her life had changed forever. She was no longer the invisible maid, no longer the frightened immigrant. She had become a woman who was loved, cherished, and for the first time in many years, she was truly free. The days following that dramatic proposal were an emotional whirlwind of change for Anna. The mansion, once her place of work, now became her home in an entirely new way. But Ethan noticed a trace of anxiety in her eyes. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. She sighed. "It's just that everything feels too good to be true." Sometimes I'm afraid I'll wake up and find myself back in my small room, just the invisible maid again. Ethan cupped her face in his hands. This is real, Anna, as real as these flowers, as real as the love I have for you. And I promise, I'll do everything I can to make sure you never feel invisible or unworthy again. Anna's heart filled with love and gratitude, but also with worry. Was Ethan sacrificing too much for her? That night, at a gala event, Anna felt out of place. The expensive dresses and sparkling jewelry made her uncomfortable, as though she were wearing a costume. The curious and disdainful glances from the other guests followed her around the room. Don't mind them, Ethan whispered in her ear, squeezing her hand. They're jealous of your beauty and authenticity. Anna tried to smile, but she still felt overwhelmed. At one point during the evening, when Ethan was talking to some business partners, she slipped away from the party and out onto the balcony, seeking a moment of peace. Standing under the starry city sky, Anna reflected on the enormous changes in her life. She loved Ethan with all her heart, but was love enough to overcome the social and cultural barriers standing between them? Are you all right? Ethan's voice pulled her from her thoughts. He had followed her out quietly, worried by her absence. Anna turned to look at him, the moonlight illuminating the unshed tears in her eyes. Ethan, are you sure this is what you want? Won't you regret giving up everything for me? Ethan pulled her close, holding her tightly. Anna, my love, I'm not giving up anything. On the contrary, I've gained everything that truly matters. You've taught me the true value of things, the meaning of unconditional love. He pulled back slightly to look into her eyes. I know it won't be easy. There will be obstacles, people who don't understand our love, but as long as we're together, we can face anything. Anna nodded, finding strength in Ethan's words and love. Together, she repeated, sealing the promise with a kiss. They returned to the party, hand in hand, facing the curious glances and whispers with their heads held high. Anna knew the road ahead would not be easy, that she would have to fight not just against the prejudices of others but also against her own insecurities. But with Ethan by her side, she felt ready to conquer the world. That night, as they returned home, Ethan noticed the thoughtful look in her eyes, gently taking her hand and kissing it. What are you thinking about? He asked. Anna smiled, her eyes filled with resolve. I'm thinking that love is like the roses we planted, she replied. Beautiful and delicate, but also strong and resilient. And just like the roses, our love will bloom even more beautifully after every challenge we overcome. Ethan nodded, understanding the depth of her words. And like the roses, he added. Our love will bring beauty and fragrance not just to our lives but to everyone around us. As the car drove into the night, Anna leaned against Ethan, feeling, for the first time in her life, that she was exactly where she needed to be. The future was uncertain, full of challenges but also brimming with promise and opportunity, and she was ready to face it all, with love as her strength and guide. The sun over Paula gradually rose on the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and golden hues. Anna woke up before Ethan, as usual. Years of waking up early to start her duties as a maid had ingrained a biological clock within her that even love couldn't change. She quietly slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Ethan. She stood for a moment, watching him as he slept peacefully, his face relaxed, and she felt a wave of love and gratitude wash over her. It still felt surreal to her, waking up each morning beside him in the same bed she once was only allowed to change the sheets for. The sound of the phone ringing pulled her out of her thoughts. She hurried back to the bedroom and quickly answered so as not to wake Ethan. Hello, Anna whispered. A familiar voice, heavy with emotion, came from the other end. It's your mother, my daughter. Anna's heart raced. She hadn't spoken to her family since her situation with Ethan had changed. Mom, she replied, her voice trembling slightly. How are you? My daughter, her mother's voice was filled with concern. We've heard rumors that you're engaged to your employer. Is that true? Anna closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. Yes, Mom, it's true. Ethan and I love each other. There was a long silence on the other end. When her mother spoke again, her voice was filled with emotion. Anna, do you know what you're doing? That man comes from a different world. Do you think his family and friends will accept you so easily? Her mother's words hit her like a punch to the gut. These were the same fears that had haunted her in moments of doubt. Mom, Ethan loves me, she tried to reply, attempting to sound more certain than she felt. He's not like the others, he doesn't care where I come from. Oh, my dear, her mother sighed. Love isn't always enough. What will happen when he realizes that you don't fit into his world? When he grows tired of defending you against everyone? Anna felt tears welling up in her eyes. That won't happen, she insisted, but her voice betrayed her own uncertainty. I just want to protect you, her mother continued. I don't want to see you get hurt. Maybe you should reconsider everything and come back home, be with the people who love you. Before Anna could respond, she felt a hand rest on her shoulder. She turned around to see Ethan, awake, his face full of concern. Is everything all right? He asked gently. Anna nodded, forcing a smile. Yes, it's my mother. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. You are our biggest motivation to keep creating. Let us know where you're watching from so we can see how far this video has reached around the world. Don't forget to hit like if you found it interesting, and share it with your friends too. I'll introduce you to her. Turning back to the phone, she said. Mom, Ethan is here. Do you want to talk to him? There was a long pause before her mother answered, her voice filled with resignation and curiosity. All right, she said finally. Anna handed the phone to Ethan, and he took it with a reassuring smile. Good morning, Señora, he greeted in carefully practiced Spanish. It's a pleasure to finally speak with you. As Ethan spoke to her mother, Anna watched his face, looking for any signs of discomfort or regret, but all she saw was love and determination in his eyes. I understand your concerns, she heard him say. And I promise you that I love your daughter more than anything in this world. I will do everything in my power to make her happy and protect her. When the call ended, Ethan turned back to Anna and wrapped her in his arms. Your mother is a strong woman, he remarked. Now I see where you get your strength from. Anna buried her face in Ethan's chest, letting the tears she had held back for so long flow freely. My mom is worried, she whispered. And sometimes, so am I. Ethan gently pulled her back, cupping her face in his hands. Anna, look at me, he said firmly. It doesn't matter what others say, it doesn't matter what obstacles we'll face, I chose you, with everything that makes you who you are, your past, your family, your culture. All of those things are part of the woman I love. Anna nodded, finding comfort in his words, but the doubts her mother's call had stirred still lingered. But what if I can't fit into your world, she asked quietly. Ethan smiled and gently kissed her forehead. Then we'll create our own world, he replied. A world where it doesn't matter where we come from, only where we're going, together. In the weeks that followed, Anna was swept up in a whirlwind of wedding preparations. Ethan wanted it to be a grand event, a declaration of their love to the world, but for Anna, every decision, every choice was a reminder of the differences between them. One afternoon, as they were reviewing invitations with the wedding planner, a woman of elegance and impeccable style, Anna felt particularly out of place. So, will the hors d'oeuvres be foie gras or caviar? The planner asked. Anna blinked, confused. She had never tried either dish and wasn't even sure she was pronouncing them correctly. Sensing her discomfort, Ethan gently intervened. What do you think about adding some traditional dishes from your region, Anna? We could have a unique blend, as special as our love. The idea made Anna's face light up. Could we serve arepas? She asked timidly. My grandmother used to make them for special occasions. The wedding planner looked horrified at the idea of serving street food at an upscale wedding, but Ethan beamed. "That's perfect," he declared. "Arepas, empanadas, anything you want. This wedding will be a celebration of both our cultures." That evening, over dinner on the terrace under the stars, Anna dared to voice a worry that had been gnawing at her. "Ethan," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been thinking, should we delay the wedding?" Ethan looked at her, surprised. "Why? Is something wrong?" Anna took his hand across the table. "It's not that I don't want to marry you, it's just that everything is happening so fast. I feel like I'm just starting to learn how to be a part of your world. Maybe we need more time for people to get used to us, and for me to get used to all of this." Ethan was silent for a moment, considering her words. Finally, he nodded. "If that's what you need, then that's what we'll do," he said. "But I want you to know this, Anna, I'm not marrying you to make you part of my world. I'm marrying you because I want to be part of your world and create a new one together." Anna's heart swelled with love and gratitude. "I love you," she whispered, her voice full of emotion. "And I love you too," Ethan replied. "And with each passing day, I love you more. No matter how long it takes, I'll be here by your side, learning and growing together." As time passed, Paula watched the love between Ethan and Anna bloom, despite the gossip and disapproving glances. The decision to delay the wedding had proven wise, giving them time to strengthen their relationship and for Anna to gradually adjust to her new life. One Sunday morning, as they strolled through the colorful streets of the old town, Ethan unexpectedly made a surprising proposal. "I've been thinking," he began, his voice blending with the sounds of seagulls and the distant crashing of the sea. "What do you think about using part of my assets to create a charity fund?" Anna looked at him curiously. "A charity fund for what?" Ethan smiled, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "To help immigrants like you, people who come here looking for a better life, who have so much to offer but often face closed doors and prejudice." The idea touched Anna deeply. She remembered her own struggles, the constant fear of deportation, the lonely nights and homesickness. "That would be wonderful," she said, her voice full of emotion. "We could provide legal advice, language courses, job assistance." "Exactly," Ethan nodded. "And I want you to lead it all. No one understands the needs of these people better than you." Anna stopped abruptly, surprised. "Me? But I have no experience running a charity. I'm just starting to learn." Ethan interrupted her gently. "You have something more valuable than experience, empathy and understanding. Besides, who says you can't learn? I'll hire experts to guide you, but the vision and heart of the charity will be yours." The idea began to take root in Anna's mind. For the first time since her relationship with Ethan had become public, she felt she had a purpose greater than just being the girlfriend of a millionaire. It was a chance to make a real difference, to build bridges between the worlds she had lived in. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. Anna dove into planning the charity with a passion that even surprised Ethan. She researched, made calls, and met with lawyers and social workers. Each night, she shared her progress with Ethan, her eyes sparkling with a newfound energy. However, not everything went smoothly. News of the charity quickly spread through Paula's social circles, and not everyone welcomed it with open arms. One afternoon, after leaving a meeting with potential donors, Anna came face to face with Nora, Ethan's ex-fiancée. The woman looked Anna up and down with disdain. "Oh, well," Nora said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "It seems the maid is now playing the role of philanthropist. How cute." Anna felt her old, insecure, fearful self trying to rise up. But then, she remembered all she had achieved and all she was about to accomplish. She stood tall, looked Nora straight in the eye, and replied calmly. "I'm not playing a role, Nora. I'm working to make the world a better place. Perhaps you should try that sometime." Anna walked away with her head held high, leaving Nora stunned and speechless. That evening, when she recounted the encounter to Ethan, Anna realized just how much she had grown. "I'm proud of you," Ethan said as he embraced her. "Not just for standing up to Nora, but for everything you're doing. You're changing so many lives, Anna." As the charity took shape, Anna found herself navigating uncharted but exciting waters. Every challenge was an opportunity to learn, every success a validation of her vision. One afternoon, while reviewing support requests, Anna came across an application that deeply moved her. It was from a young mother who had just arrived in Paula, desperate to find work to support her child. Her story mirrored Anna's own, bringing a lump to her throat. Without hesitation, Anna decided to visit the woman personally. Ethan insisted on accompanying her, concerned for her safety in the poorer areas of the city. They arrived at a small tin house on the outskirts of Paula. The young mother, seeing the luxurious car parked outside, stepped out with her child in her arms, her eyes filled with a mix of hope and fear. Anna approached her with a warm smile. "Hello, I'm Anna," she introduced herself in Spanish. "I'm here because I wanted to meet you and see how we can help." Hearing Anna's familiar tone, the woman seemed to relax. "I'm Maria," she replied. "And this is my son, Carlos." For the next hour, Anna listened to Maria's story, one so similar to her own. Tears streamed down both women's faces as they shared experiences of struggle and hope. Ethan watched the scene quietly, amazed by the connection Anna could establish and the way her spirit shone when helping others. By the end of the visit, Anna had not only arranged a job for Maria at a company affiliated with the charity but had also set up childcare for Carlos and Spanish-language classes for the young mother. Back in the car, Ethan took Anna's hand and kissed it gently. "You know," he said softly, "I think I fell in love with you all over again today." Anna looked at him, surprised. "Why?" she asked. "Because I saw the incredible woman you've become, strong, compassionate, determined to make the world a better place. I'm honored to stand beside you on this journey." Anna's heart swelled with love and gratitude. "All of this is because of you," she began, but Ethan interrupted her with a gesture. "No, my love, this is all you're doing. I only gave you the opportunity, but you took it and turned it into something beautiful and powerful." That night, as they prepared for bed, Anna looked at herself in the bedroom mirror. She no longer saw the frightened, undocumented maid who had arrived in Paula years ago. Instead, she saw a strong, confident woman capable of changing the lives of many. Beside her, reflected in the mirror, was Ethan, looking at her with love and admiration, a look that still made her heart flutter. The next few months passed by in a whirlwind of activity. The charity grew far beyond its initial expectations, becoming a beacon of hope for immigrants throughout the region. Anna spent her days in meetings with donors, visiting families in need, and planning new programs. Each night, she shared stories of lives being transformed with Ethan, her eyes sparkling with a newfound passion. However, the charity's success also brought new challenges. Critics began questioning the organization's purpose, suggesting it was merely a PR strategy to improve Ethan's image after his engagement to a former employee. One morning, while they were having breakfast on the terrace, Ethan handed Anna a local newspaper. The headline read, "Charity or Image Cleanup, the controversial foundation of a millionaire and his maid." Anna felt her stomach twist as she read the malicious words. "How can they think this is just a ploy?" she asked, her voice trembling with anger. "Don't they see the good we're doing?" Ethan took her hand across the table. "Some people only see what they want to see, my love. But don't let that discourage you. What matters is the lives we're changing, not what a scandal-seeking journalist says." Anna nodded, but the words from the article echoed in her mind. What if they're right? What if all of this is too good to be true? That afternoon, when she visited a community center the charity had helped establish, Anna found herself surrounded by beaming faces and stories of hope and perseverance. One woman approached her, tears streaming down her cheeks, and thanked her for giving her the chance to learn a trade and support her family. It was in that moment that Anna remembered why she was doing all of this. It wasn't for Ethan's image, not even for herself, it was for these people, for giving them the opportunity she had once longed for when she first arrived in Paula. With renewed determination, Anna decided to confront the criticism head-on. She organized a press conference, inviting journalists and community leaders to tour the charity's projects and speak directly with the people who had benefited. On the day of the tour, Anna was nervous but resolute. In front of cameras and microphones, she shared her own story, of her struggles as an immigrant, and how that experience had inspired her to help others. "This charity isn't about me or Ethan," she declared with conviction. "It's about giving opportunities to those who need them, building bridges between communities, and making Paula a better place for everyone." Her passionate and heartfelt words touched many, changing their perception of the foundation. Journalists who had come in with skepticism left impressed by the foundation's real impact and influence. That evening, as Anna and Ethan celebrated the success of the press conference with an intimate dinner at home, they received an unexpected phone call. It was Anna's mother. "My dear daughter," her mother's voice was filled with emotion on the other end. "I saw you on the news. I'm so proud of you, of everything you've accomplished." Tears welled up in Anna's eyes. "Thank you, Mama," she replied. "Hearing you say that means so much to me." "I was wrong to doubt your relationship with Ethan," her mother continued. "I was afraid you would lose yourself, but now I see that you've blossomed, that you're doing incredible things." The conversation lasted long, healing old wounds and building new bridges of understanding. When Anna finally hung up, she turned to Ethan, who had quietly observed, respecting her private moment. "My mom wants to visit us," she announced with a radiant smile. "She said she wants to meet her son-in-law and see firsthand the work we're doing." Ethan pulled her into his arms, kissing her gently on the forehead. "Nothing could make me happier," he said. "You and your family are my family now." That night, as they prepared for bed, Anna reflected on the journey she had taken, from a fearful maid to a respected leader, from an undocumented immigrant to a pillar of the community. But what moved her most wasn't the external achievements, but the inner growth, the confidence and strength she had discovered within herself. "What are you thinking about?" Ethan asked, noticing the thoughtful look in her eyes. Anna smiled, leaning closer to him. "I'm thinking that life is like a fairy tale, but not in the way I thought when I was a child. It's not about waiting for a prince to save you, but about finding your own strength and your own path. And if you're lucky enough to find someone who loves and supports you on that journey, as you've done for me, then that's the real magic." Ethan kissed her softly. "You are the magic, Anna. I'm just lucky to have realized it." As they drifted to sleep in each other's arms, beneath the soft silk sheets, Anna thought about all the lives they had touched, all the dreams they had helped come true. She knew, with a warmth that filled her heart, that this was just the beginning of their true fairy tale. Rafael Núñez International Airport was bustling with activity, but for Anna, the world seemed to stop. Her heart raced as she stood beside Ethan, waiting for the flight that would bring her family from her homeland. "Are you nervous?" Ethan asked, gently squeezing her hand. Anna nodded, unable to find words to express the whirlwind of emotions inside her. It had been years since she had seen her mother and her siblings. Would they recognize her? Would they see her as the same Anna who had left home seeking a better life, or would they see the woman she had become? The announcement for the flight crackled over the loudspeakers, pulling Anna from her thoughts. The next few minutes felt like an eternity until, finally, she saw familiar faces emerge from the crowd of passengers. "Mama!" Anna cried, running toward them with tears streaming down her cheeks. The hugs were mixed with laughter and tears, the years of separation melting away in a moment of pure love and reunion. Her mother, Paula, held her tight as if afraid she would disappear if she let go. "My daughter," she whispered through her tears. "My Anna." Ethan watched the scene with a mixture of emotion and anxiety. When Anna finally stepped away from her family, she introduced them with pride. Mama, everyone, this is Ethan, she said, her voice full of love and pride. Paula looked Ethan over, assessing the man who had won her daughter's heart. Then, to everyone's surprise, she opened her arms and enveloped Ethan in a warm embrace. Thank you, she said simply, for taking care of my Anna. On the drive from the airport to the villa, the air was filled with chatter, updates, and questions. Anna noticed the astonished looks on her family's faces as they passed through the luxurious streets of Paula and approached the grand gates of the house she now called home. You live here? Luis, her youngest brother, asked with wide-eyed amazement. Anna nodded, feeling a twinge of guilt as she remembered the humble home they had left behind. Yes, she replied. But this isn't just a big house. It's a home, and now it's our family's home too. The days that followed passed in a whirlwind of activity. Anna and Ethan spent time showing her family around the city, visiting the charities projects, and introducing them to the people whose lives had been changed through their work. One afternoon, while they visited one of the community centers, Paula watched her daughter interact with the program's beneficiaries. She saw Anna comforting a young mother, offering advice to a group of teenagers, and negotiating with local suppliers. In every interaction, Anna radiated confidence, compassion, and strength. You've grown so much, Paula said to her daughter that evening when they had a quiet moment together on the terrace. And I'm not just talking about your position or this house. You've grown from the inside, my dear. Anna felt tears welling up in her eyes. Sometimes I'm scared, Mama, she admitted. Afraid that I'll lose myself in all of this, afraid that I'll forget where I came from. Paula held her daughter's hands tightly, her rough hands worn from years of hard work. Listen to me, Anna, your roots are strong. They are planted deep in the love of your family and the hardships you've overcome. But you also have wings, wings that have carried you further than we ever imagined. Don't be afraid to soar high, because you'll always know how to come back home. Those words echoed in Anna's heart, giving her a new perspective on her life and achievements. As the visit drew to a close, Anna realized that something had shifted within her. She no longer felt torn between two worlds, instead, she had found a way to connect them, to build a bridge between her past and her present. The night before her family was set to leave, Anna and Ethan hosted a grand party in the villa's garden. They invited the charity's beneficiaries, collaborators, and a few friends who had stood by them despite rumors and criticism. Under Paula's starry sky, with music and laughter filling the air, Anna watched her mother dancing with Ethan, her siblings happily chatting with some of the young people from the charity's programs, and she felt her heart overflow with joy and gratitude.
If you enjoyed this story, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to keep bringing heartwarming stories almost every day. We are very grateful for your support. See you soon.